Hi there, this is Julia Merritt, and today I thought I would have a short talk to you about the idea of overthinking. Now, I am totally aware that as an introvert, one of the things that I do really well is I take an idea and I spin it and I spin it and I spin it, and suddenly what seemed to be a good idea at the beginning, I've suddenly got all these different options, all these different ideas of things that I could do, and all of a sudden I've got so many things that I don't do anything. I find that I actually end up in overwhelm. And I know that I'm not the only one who does this. I am completely aware that as business people, as business women, we are creative by nature, because that's what we're doing. We're creating a business. We're creating a lifestyle and something that we want to do. And in being creative, we have this ability to see things from many different sides of the coin. We are able to see when things are going well, we're able to see when things aren't going so well. And what happens is that we get to a point where instead of the ideas supporting us, they end up running away from us. We end up thinking, well, I could do this, and if I do this, then I have to do that. If I have to do that, then I have to do that. If I have to do that, I have to do that. So we end up kind of almost playing chess with ourselves, thinking so many steps ahead, rather than taking a single step, rather than saying, where do I end up going? What do I end up doing? You end up with everything in this moment in time, and you end up completely overwhelmed. Now, I really believe that there is a point for planning. I really strongly believe that we're able to achieve more in a year than we think we're capable of. And what we need to do is we need to be breaking things down. We need to be thinking about the idea of creating 90-day goals. The reason for 90-day goals is that they're big enough for us to be challenging, and in being that bit of challenging, they're motivating for us. And then we can break those 90 days down into 30-day goals and 60-day goals, and then break those down into weekly goals. And once you know what your goal for the week is, you can decide what you're going to do on a single day. And by deciding what you're going to do on a single day, you just have to work on today. Work on what is today you need to do, and then you know tomorrow what it is you need to do tomorrow. So you end up building, you build strategically, rather than becoming overwhelmed by all the things that you could do, by chasing after that new shiny idea, rather than thinking, okay, taking it strategically, taking it one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. I actually even have one of my free gifts is actually a success planner, a business planner, which enables you to do this. And it's something which I use every day to keep me on track, because it's so important. So but also the other side of overthinking is that we actually potentially end up overanalyzing ourselves. We overanalyze whether we're competent, whether we're capable, whether we're able to do it or not. And we get to that point where it's like, so too often we end up at that point where we believe we can't do it, because we've talked ourselves out of it, because we've overthought what we're saying. And so it's a case of actually, rather than getting those thoughts processes spinning, and you have a choice at this point in time. You can either go with the thought processes that are spinning, and that will tire you out. It will become the one thing that you focus on, and you kind of just don't get anywhere. I know for myself that when I do this, I actually often end up feeling physically sick. I end up believing that I'm useless, that I'm helpless, that I'm hopeless, that I can't do things. So you end up spinning things, and in spinning things you end up in a more hopeless place. Or you could do what other people try and do, which is push it away. And the reality is, if you imagine this is you, the thoughts, as you push it away, you end up moulding yourself to be like the thoughts. So the more you try to resist the thoughts, the more the process becomes part of who you are. So you have a choice at this point in time. Rather than ruminate and spinning it, which will steal your energy, which will make you feel rubbish, or try to push it away, your choice at this point in time is something slightly different. And that's to acknowledge what's going on, to see it, but not to fight it, to acknowledge those thoughts, write them down so that you don't lose them, and so that and then you can weave them into your schedule and your plan when you want it to. So you notice them, and instead of judging them at the thoughts and saying, oh, I should do this, I've got to do this, I must do this, and beating yourself up completely, you notice what's going on and going, oh, that's a good thought, let me make a note of that. And then you take a deep breath. You allow that, whatever it is, to pass on, not judging what you thought, not judging what other people could say to you. Let that thought pass by, and not getting caught up in it. And in not getting caught up in it, you'll really, really help yourself. And one of the great things that you can do at this point in time to not get caught up in it is to breathe, is to take that deep breath, to slowly breathe in, to slowly breathe out, to notice what's going on with your breath, to notice where you feel your breath in your body, whether it be in your nose, in your chest, or in your stomach. Notice where you'll feel your breath, because in noticing, you bring yourself back into the moment. So rather than spinning your thoughts, rather than pushing your thoughts away, if those things are happening, taking notice of your breath and where you're feeling your breath brings you back into this moment in time. And when you're centered, when you're feeling able to cope, that's when you start making the good decisions. That's when you make the strategic decisions, rather than the decisions that are based on overwhelm, rather than the decisions that are based in just not feeling like you can cope. So my challenge to you today is, if you are finding yourself getting into overwhelm, to take that deep breath. And it doesn't necessarily matter how long the breath is, but if you breathe in through your nose, out through pursed lips, so that will just simply slow your breath down, you will find that you are able to get back in control. You'll stop those thoughts spinning, you'll stop becoming overwhelmed by those thoughts, and you'll be able to get yourself back into a position where you can make good decisions. So thank you very much for listening, and I will hopefully chat to you again tomorrow. So take care, and bye then.